Hey guys, Steve Benoon here with Israeli News Live, and I'm doing a couple of videos on our Patreon channel. That's patreon.com/Israeli News Live for those of you that would like to follow that. Pardon the dog snores that typically happens when I'm doing a video. Anyway, but one of the subjects I figured I'd share here on TikTok. I've never done that before, and I know I've shared some videos here, not very many. But I'm going to be talking about a very interesting subject on menopause and andropause. Andropause is the same thing that women go through, but it's what men go through. And that's basically when you get past the age of making children, oddly enough. And when that happens, the body begins to drop in women, their estrogen, even their testosterone levels, progesterone, all those just begin to start rapidly dropping. Generally happens to women in their 50s. Men in their late 50s, closer to their early 60s, they begin to drop in testosterone. And in both cases, they go very severely low. Now, what happens, though, what a lot of people are not aware of, is what happens in the body as a result of this. Your aging really begins to kick in when these things happen. It's kind of like, and it's really weird to say this, but it's kind of like the only thing we seem to be good for is come on this earth, make children, and then out the door you go. Now, granted, there are people that live much longer than 60 years old, but even in the old days, they really didn't live a whole heck of a lot longer. Now, the good news is nowadays they have replacements. You can have testosterone. You can get bioidenticals. They have it for menopause as well. But what happens to the body when those things begin to decline? Well, in both men and women, heart trouble, arthritis, women, osteoporosis, bone loss, happens. Alzheimer's can set in. Insulin resistance happens to men and andropause, and the list just goes on and on and on and on. And what scientists have discovered is that there are receptors in the body for estrogen, for testosterone. All these things that happen in the body have receptors, but when you don't have it any longer, that body begins to break down. Now, you might say, Steve, why are you even getting into this subject? You're a guy to begin with, right? Well, because men suffer with this as well, and they don't realize that's why they have muscle loss. They have, it's not just about the fact of not being able to do a whole heck of a lot anymore, but it's just the fact that it affects every organ in your body. And the reason why it's important to me, one, is to help people know what they could do. Used to, the science studies thought that women would get cancer, increase their risk of breast cancer if they took anything for menopause, such as estrogen or progesterone. But now, new studies have discovered that bioidentical hormones like this, replacement hormone therapy, actually can reverse all the symptoms they're going through, the hot flashes, things like that for women. Really, women really get much worse than men. But again, what does it matter? Now on Patreon, I'm going to go a little deeper, but I'm going to give you guys a little bit of hint here. Go back to Genesis. When the fall came, the serpent said to Eve, right? He's telling her, eat of the tree of knowledge, right? You become so much smarter, you're going to be wiser and everything. But when God comes in, he says, you're going to bring forth children in sorrow and in pain. Now, it's not talking about the physical labor part. It's actually talking about God knowing that she's going to have two sons, because it does say that she's going to birth banim, sons, not children, banim. Not Yeladim. It doesn't say Yeladim, it says Banim. In Hebrew, that means sons. And he knew that one's going to kill the other because he's God, so he knows that's going to happen. That's why it would cause her pain and sorrow. But it's even more than that as I begin to look at this. If you really begin to study And it's even written in the canon of the Bible. Jesus says these things, but nobody pays attention, right? I'll give you an example. Where are you going at with this, Steve? It's like a recycling program almost. You remember the boy that was born blind, and they come to Jesus, they said, who sinned? His disciples asked him, who sinned? Was it him or his mom and daddy? Jesus says, neither one. And so that the glory of God could be made manifest. But he didn't argue the fact over the guy possibly of sinning before he was born. Let that soak for a moment, right? And if the serpent, basically, it wasn't just the serpent was trying to get them to eat of this tree. And yes, it did make them smart. It did make them wise. Their eyes came open. They realized they were naked. I'm not talking about running around, which they did. They ran around totally naked. That's true. But I'm talking about they realized they were in a human body. Satan had a plan, and he wants to trap humanity in flesh. But Jesus Christ came to redeem us back to the Father. You're supposed to be children of the light, not children of the flesh. So when I look at menopause and andropause, I realize we're being set up. Join us on Patreon. I'll take you much deeper than you've ever thought about. We do have a tier on Patreon called Deep Dive, and that's where the in-depth part of this video will be. God bless you.